Hi, this is Perry Husband with the EV Lab, and we're going to talk today about the softball swing and one of the elements that plays a major role in hitting the ball solid.
Yes, game planning, tactics in the postseason, in-game, in-series adjustments, effective velocity under the microscope there, strategy, counter-strategy happening game by game. Carlos Pena is with us. This is what we talk about when we're at the World Series. Yeah. And I know you'll be texting me, did you see that pitch after this pitch and then sequencing?
Yeah, it's just basically when you are able to apply the science of effective velocity, which is the science behind timing, deception. That's what effective velocity is all about.
We're going to take a look at this Kasidi Pickering home run, and then we're going to look at the pitch before, because I want to do a little bit of comparison between these two pitches. This is a pretty impressive oppo bomb. But the pitch before that, and we'll do an overlay so you can see, but it's exactly the same location and the same speed. And she's pretty much on time to this because her barrel is passing directly underneath the ball, just about exactly at the right time. And we'll be able to see the timing of that when we do the overlay. But she's below it. So she's on time, but she's off plane. She's not on plane with the pitch. When you look down at the backside, her back foot, it never really releases. And that's gonna set off of a few different things that happen in the swing sequence. So let's look at both of these together. We'll look at the home run swing, and we'll look at the swing and miss. And you can see the pitches are identical. You can see the front foot's down same time, but then things start to change a little bit. You see the difference in where the two helmets are and where the shoulder blade is. Clearly, one of these is higher than the other, and it's obviously the one where the bat is higher than the other. And you can see the belt, her belt, clearly a couple of inches lower in the swing and miss versus the ball that's hit. But the timing of the swings, you can tell, are very close to identical. In other words, she's on time for that first pitch. She's just below it. So let's take a look at what causes that. We're going to look at kind of a little bit of a close-up, and we'll see. It's still kind of hard to tell whether the backside releases or not. You can see a little more detail, but it's still not super clear. But this side view is pretty telling. So she loads and releases off the backside, and you see that back foot get all the way to the point where fully released, and then she goes backwards directly after that, but it's already the ball's already off the bat, so it really doesn't matter after that. But the difference between this backside releasing fully and not is a bunch of things happen. One, as we saw, the head level drops, the eye level drops, her belt would drop, which means basically everything drops down to the point where it's just a little bit lower, which means it's going to be below the line of that pitch. That pitch is roughly 2 degrees downward. Her swing path is pretty much directly in line with it. And then afterwards goes up a little bit. And I want to compare this swing. I want you to see some things about this swing that I thought were pretty interesting. We'll put it side by side with someone else with a similar approach. You see Ohtani gets his foot down, but keeps the heel of his front foot in the air. But watch the hip action. See how it turns inward? The hands go back. You'll see her turn inward. You'll see the hands go back. You'll see the hip go forward. Hers goes forward. And then he initiates and releases off that backside. This backside release is a huge factor. It's not given very much attention, but it's a huge factor. And my theory is that the human brain is calculating the fact that you're going to make the most efficient movement that you can. which is going to include that backside releasing fully. And I know there's a lot of controversy about that all over the place, all over the internet. But what I would just tell you is that when you study players who stay on their back foot, there is, and a pitch that's right there, like belt high. This pitch, if it's a fastball in the major leagues, has a ridiculously high amount of foul tips and swings and misses as a result of hitters that stay on this backside. When they have that bug squishing concept going on, then everything drops. The hip level drops a little bit, the shoulder drops a little bit, the barrel drops a little bit, and then has a little bit more of that upward swing path, and it's just not on plane. But when you watch these two swings together, you see that that those things are happening very similar. Both of the movement patterns are super similar. And we could replace a number of different swings that have a leg kick, but the same things are happening in both cases. So in other words, it doesn't matter where you're at, whether your foot's in the air or on the ground like this. What matters is, do you have control over your core, over your center? Are you leveraged? He's definitely leveraged. Is she leveraged? We're not at a complete 90-degree angle, but if I try to walk up and push her over right there, there's no chance that that's going to happen. She has a tremendous amount of leverage. And so that's one of those things that is super important also, and that's kind of lost in today's thought process with swing design. But you're going to see it in Ohtani's swing, and you're going to see it in her swing. I wish we had the side view of the one that she swung and missed, because you wouldn't see that. You would see her backside more in that position. So in other words, that would be the farthest place she got to in that first swing. And you can see what happens even right here at release. Here's where her belt level's at. But the second you go back to that other position, you see that belt level go back to where we saw in the overlay. So in the end, what I'm trying to say is, when players are making their A swing, there's a lot of things going on. One of those things is that they're loading with leverage. She's creating some stretch so that the hands are going that way. When the hip starts to open, you're going to see that stretch take place. You're going to see that they're in control of their center. What we call that as an and. They load and the whole time that front heel is off the ground means that she can adjust to whatever is happening with a different speed pitch. Once that heel goes down, once she recognizes the pitch and then the heel goes down, that's when the swing is initiated. So in other words, what Oklahoma is trying to do and what she's trying to do is to load and go. Whereas the rest of the world is loading and they're going, and then they're trying to adjust their swing to match the speed of the pitch. Two completely different thought processes. I don't want to get too far into that. What I really wanted to cover today was just the idea of that back foot releasing. When it releases, it creates the best swing path possible, the longest time in line with the pitch, and the most energy going directly into that moment of impact. So you lose the least amount of energy at the moment of contact.